Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Java with John. I'm John Rayhans, the General Manager here at Iron Oaks. I'm out here at the starter desk with our Director of Golf, Eddy Renio. Eddy, thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you, John. A beautiful morning. Finally, a nice day where it's not blowing 20 miles an hour or raining or 95 degrees. So this is a beautiful morning. So a lot of people are really happy about today's weather.
Awesome. That's great. Now, earlier we were here and we videotaped what goes on here on a busy day when you have a shotgun. And my goodness, you've got a lot of play going on.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like we need to kind of back up and have a conversation with our homeowners about some new policies that you're bringing on.
Yes, sir. You know, during a shotgun at any given day, we'll have 200 plus people teeing off, and they're all showing up anywhere from a half an hour to 10 minutes before the tee time starts. And it gets really congested out here. And for our starters, it's really difficult to keep track of who's pulling in as well as who's here. And one of the biggest issues that we have on shotguns are our link groups. We have the ability on Chelsea to link anywhere from 2 to 4 groups at one time. And what we've been seeing lately is that we have a group of 4 link tee times on a specific hole or holes, and then when our team goes to check them in, there's people that aren't there, there's people who are there that weren't on the tee sheet, and so it makes it difficult for us to track all of the rounds. And one of the things we want to do is we want to track those rounds first to have an accurate count of how many people are playing, but also for our members to understand that when they play, we're keeping track of how many rounds they have, so then when they come to us and ask us about how many rounds they played and whether it's right to buy an annual membership, we can give them an accurate count of their number of rounds. But when people are putting other people's names in there who aren't playing, now those rounds get skewed. You know, we start seeing people who look like they played 150 rounds on Chelsea, but yet they've only been here for, you know, maybe 70 rounds. And so what's happening is their friends are using their names as a placeholder because they don't want to lose their spot in the Chelsea draw. And I understand everybody wants to be placed in a good position for the draw, but it also hurts the other people who don't get placed in the draw because they get kicked to the overflow list. And so what we're trying to do is we want people to be honest. We want them to follow the same protocol, be fair. You know, we have over 800 people that are registered in Chelsea, and they're making reservations every day. And especially for shotgun starts, everybody wants to get in the morning when it's hot or in the afternoon when it's colder. And so we are limited on how many spots are available. So if we have a shotgun and we have all these linked groups that are supposed to be arriving and playing on that day, and then we have a group that's maybe 4 linked groups are supposed to be here and then only 8 people show up. Now that's 8 spots that are available that we can't really fill because we don't have that much time because the shotgun's going to start off. So that ends up having, you know, less people on the golf course. It affects several things. It affects our rotation because we like to have a full shotgun field with everybody on a hole. It helps us with our rotation and timing of the rotation of how the flow goes. But also when we have less people, what it's doing is it's costing us money because there's an opportunity cost of filling in those tee times. It could have been a green fee paying group that could have filled it in. Again, we're trying to maximize rounds and revenue, and those two go hand in hand. So when people are making requests, we really want to ask them to be fair. Only put the names of people who are going to be playing in your group that day on the tee sheet, not fillers. We're going to start tracking all these names of people who don't show. And unfortunately, there might be some innocent bystanders who have their names placed in the tee sheet by their friends because they want to hold a spot. But those people might get penalized because they don't realize that their name's in the sheet, and we're going to count them as no-shows because we don't see them here.
Wow, that's a lot. And
yeah,
all good information. So to kind of summarize that, you can see how many people come on these shotgun days, over 200 people, which is great. golf is in high demand, especially in peak season here at Iron Oaks.
Absolutely.
And what I'm hearing you say is, hey, when I make a tee time, or a member makes the tee time, hey, put in the players' names that are actually playing. That's very, very important because you don't want to skew anything.
Right.
And you're also tracking that now, which is great. You want to maximize the tee sheet so everybody can get out. So that
Right.
no-show factor does come into play. So make sure you just don't fill up a foursome when maybe you're not really having a foursome. We want to get everybody out and have equal access to the golf course. Now,
Absolutely.
also, how do you handle, I was looking this morning, you've got lots of people playing. What are guests supposed to do? Do they need to check in?
Absolutely. So, you know, we have guests, we have members who bring guests in, and we'd like to have them come in with their guests to check in. Again, we're trying to keep accurate account of all the rounds and the people who are playing. Same thing with play cards, right? People who have play cards need to go into the shop to check in, get a punch taken, and then they also need to check in with the starter out here so that we know that you're a punch card member, that you've taken a round to make sure that you're paying for your round when you go play. And the same thing with guests. A lot of times people make a request and just put guest as their second or third person or fourth person, and we don't know who that person is. And so if you're making a Chelsea request and you're going to have outside guests or family, we would like you to put a name in that spot so we can keep count of that as well. And we need everybody to check in with the starter when they arrive instead of just pulling in and going out to the driving range or the putting green. We want to make sure, again, that we're having accurate counts, and we want to know who's on the golf course. You know, and it's not just for knowing who's there, but if there's an emergency, we want to know what hole they started on. If their loved one has an emergency and they call the golf course, we want to know that that person is actually here and that we can find them on the golf course, because there's a lot of things that can happen, and if we don't have the right name, we don't know where to search for people at times.
That's a great point. Safety is very important here. Well, Eddie, you and your team are doing a great job. You certainly have your hands full with the amount of golf play we have here, which is all great. So thanks for being with me today. Appreciate all your help. Take care.
Thanks, John. We'll see you on the golf course, everybody.